Whenever we don't want that sort of things to happen, we don't want them to happen, we tend to call them vocal cracks or voice breaks. When we want them to happen, we call those. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back in the studio with a good cup of coffee for one more vocal analysis. And today we're listening to Lady Gaga Abracadabra live at the 2026 editions of the Grammys. I haven't watched any of the Grammy performances. I want to do it, but of course I want to do it with you guys, and we will be starting with this one. If you are new to the channel, my name is Kyle Leish. I'm a singer-songwriter and voice teacher. A couple months ago, I released my latest single. It's called Leave It All Behind. If you are into rock, if you like high vocals, distorted guitars, you might like the song. It would mean a lot to me if you could go there, give it a listen, and of course, let me know your thoughts on it. I'm proud to say that I'm not only a vocal coach slash voice teacher, I'm on the battlefield just like yourself. If you are a singer, I'm always writing music, recording music, releasing music. On the other front, as a voice teacher, vocal coach, my work is focused on laryngeal biomechanics and physiology, basically what the muscles that we have inside our larynxes they do in order to perform the behaviors that we have in contemporary singing. Now, if you want to become a singing student, check the link in my description down below to get more information on my online singing program. It's called Building Your Voice, and in there we cover a range of different topics inside vocal technique. We talk about active vocal schemes in case you want to understand more about belting, compression, power, but we also talk about passive vocal schemes, those soft sounds whenever you want to be super expressive with your singing in your voice to better interpret a song. We also cover that topic in there. We talk about ornaments such as yodels, vibratos, runs, and of course vocal distortions. Yeah! How to practice and apply vocal distortions in a way that will not hurt your voice. Alright, so all of that and much more, that's inside my singing course, Building Your Voice, link down below. Alright, now without further ado, let's listen to Abracadabra. But first, coffee. Wait, is that Lady Gaga? I love the vocal distortions already. I don't think she was singing. Okay, I love the visuals, I can say already. It's really interesting. Like it's weird, but interesting. I like that. It's quite unique, let's say. Well, when it comes to vocal technique here is the thing. Physiology-wise, our vocal folds can be either in active tension or passive tension, depending on the level of muscle mass mobilization that we have inside the vocal folds. So part of the vocal folds, or the vocal folds, are compound of a set of different tissues, and one of them would be the vocalis muscles. The vocalis muscles, which are pretty much the muscle part of the vocal folds, they can be in active tension or passive tension. If we have that compression, that hardness in the sound, it means that the vocalis muscles, the vocal folds, are in active tension. The way that I'm speaking right now, hey, oh yeah, this is active. So I'm speaking with my vocal folds in active tension. Now, when we hear this, she's also singing with her vocal folds in active tension. When the devil, and there is an important, or there are a few important physiological changes that happen throughout our range, even if we decide to keep our vocal folds in active tension. Because no, we don't need to flip. Some people believe that as we are going up, at a certain moment we need to flip to another voice. Some people will call that, oh, you're transitioning into a falsetto or transitioning into a head voice. You flip something, you change the register? Well, the vocal folds can be active throughout your whole range, or at least the vocal folds can be active until the C6 here, and then we get into the whistle tones that the vocal folds won't be active nor passive, to be something else. But what you need to understand is, yes, you can sing the high notes with active vocal folds. Yes, sometimes it will be easier to shift into something else, but you can sing with active vocal folds the whole time. And what I was about to say is that we do have important transitions that happen in terms of, okay, these are the muscles responsible for stretching the vocal folds. They're working more, they're working less. We might have other muscles joining the arrangement later on, and they're singing super, super high. So keep in mind that when we say that the vocal folds are active, we are not talking about pitch just yet. It doesn't have to be low. All right? But this technique that she's using here, she's not singing high just yet. I believe that she will, because I don't know the song, but I heard a lot of Lady Gaga. Of course, I've worked with a lot of Lady Gaga with my students, and I've sang a few before. I believe that she will be singing higher notes later on, but here, this first technique inside Vocal Anthropophysiology, which is the theoretical framework for my work as a voice teacher, we call this kind of technique here a crooner voice. All right, so a crooner voice, active vocal folds in a lower slash speaking range. Okay, here we have the high C. Yeah, high C, and then we have A flat, and then we have F. Save me from, save me from, save me from. Okay, vocal folds are still active, but now we are talking about a higher range. This kind of technique here inside vocal anthropophysiology we call warn voice. The voice that you would use to warn someone about something. Imagine that you need to call someone on the other side of the street, and then you just, quotation marks here, yell, "Hey! Hey!" That's the kind of situation in the everyday context, in the anthropological scenarios of life, that you would use a behavior that's similar to the warn voice. And that's the reason why we call it warn voice in the first place. So again, the voice that you would use to warn someone about something. Here, we don't want to flip anything. She's not doing, save me from. No, the vocal folds are active. Save me from is not save me from. Okay, so that's a warn voice. Amazing. And yes, this is exactly what a lot of people will call belting, because we are keeping that power, we are keeping that compression. It is so easy to have a break when you try to do that, and instead of having the save, we have save, and everything just breaks and shakes. A good exercise that you can use to help improve that higher part of your range with active vocal folds would be the counter pressure, which is pretty much you just close your vocal folds, you engage a lot the muscles that are around your vocal folds. Doing this movement here, I like to say, imagine that you're at the gym, you're doing some exercise, you are about to squat, and then you just have that initial push. Or even if you need to lift something really heavy, or even you're driving, your car broke down, and then you need to push it for a couple of blocks so that you can get to a garage, and then you just, I'm closing my vocal folds and I'm sending air. Important, the counter pressure is totally safe for the vocal folds and for the mucosa. The only thing is we cannot have any sound. The counter pressure won't be safe if we have sound. So if you're doing it and then you hear, stop right there. That's not the idea. We cannot have sound. Okay, and once you got this, you can try to start with the counter pressure, keep some of that firmness, some of that tightness, and go to the high note. Say! Hey! 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 Save me from. That's the idea. All right? just most of it will be active. She's switching back and forth between that crooner and I'm singing like this and then the one up there. That this song in particular reminds me a lot of old times Lady Gaga, like 20, would it be 2010, 2011? Probably.
Trance, it's time to cast your spell on light. Abracadabra, 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 in her tongue she said, "Get going out tonight."
Ah! Oh, we have a yodel there. Whenever we don't want that sort of things to happen, we don't want them to happen, we tend to call them vocal cracks or voice breaks. When we want them to happen, we call those yodels, and I just love them. I really like yodels at the end of phrases like we have here. She's belting out, we have that high, powerful sound, and then suddenly that sigh at the end.
She said, "Get going out tonight."
Amazing. And that's literally a transition, an abrupt transition between an active technique and a passive technique. That's basically what yodel is, but of course we practice to be able to control that and apply that in the way that will best fit our songs. It must be hard to see the keyboard with that hat. Okay, this is freaking me out. The way that she's always looking at the camera, and of course this was rehearsed a lot, I'm pretty sure. But the fact that this was a performance that they pulled off live, and she's doing all the eye, face, body movements following the camera, this is a performance by itself. That's pretty cool.
On the west side, as the dust flies, will they burn?
Yeah, we have a lot of compression here. Everything is so strong here. That makes me think a lot of like metal, heavy metal. That's my school, and this is giving me rock/metal vibes because of all that compression and power. I wonder now whether we will have more passive techniques here, because of course I always love to analyze dynamics when you have different colors, different sounds. So yeah, I hope we'll have some passive vocal schemes here. Let's keep going. No, you guys have to agree with me. This is really rock/metal sounding. Save! Save! Even that vibrato. That also gives me a lot of rock vibes. Okay. Okay, I would just point out that assuming such a posture and singing that chorus is pretty hard, because when we think about breathing support, we definitely require the action of structures that would be responsible for keeping the diaphragm or sustaining the diaphragm under contraction, and also structures that would be responsible for sending out air. Okay, and particularly one of my favorite breathing techniques would be the lateral technique with abdominal seesaw, in which we would use the ribs right open to keep the diaphragm under contraction, and we use the movements, especially from the abdominis transversus, the muscle, your stomach muscle that we use to pull the stomach in. We'll be using that to send air out, or the movement from those muscles. We'll be pulling the stomach in and all of its content that would pretty much add some force against the diaphragm, which we are keeping under contraction, and that would allow the diaphragm to move only so slightly to push some of the air out of the lungs. And all of that movement is really hard to achieve properly when we are just still in a position like that, because she's not moving that much. Yeah, I'm trying to visualize here the movements from the rib cage and from the stomach. It's a bit harder because of the movements from the camera as well. Yeah, this is something really hard to do. Let's leave it at that. But it's such a nice performance. Oh. I hear some vocal distortions there. Come on, you guys are hearing that as well, right? Yeah! Something mixed. A bit of supraglottic structure, a bit of glottic structures. Yeah! And it's in a range that we would already call this a scream. Inside vocal anthropophysiology, basically, if it happens above the high C, it falls into the category of screams. And then we have different kind of screams. But right now, again, let's leave it at that. A kind of scream. And I'm hearing glottic distortions, that is, structures that are at the level of the vocal folds, and also supraglottic structures, things that are above the vocal folds and are also shaking to create that sound here, specifically either the corniculate cartilages or the vestibular folds. That's super high. Meow! Again, metal vibes. The vibrato. Woo! And here we have examples of passive schemes. Ooh, that's a Gregorian voice, as we call it inside vocal anthropophysiology. And basically, what is a Gregorian voice? It's a kind of vocal scheme in which the vocal folds are in passive tension, and we also have a sufficient amount of air pressure to project our sound forward. It's not, let's say, I'm not only singing to myself, I'm trying to project my voice. I want to be heard. I want you to hear me. And that would be an example of Gregorian voice. Again, it can be happening high, the way she's doing, or I can make it lower. This here is also a Gregorian voice. Mama just killed a man. Also a Gregorian voice. Alright? It's the physiological behavior and not the pitch that would change the scheme. The fact that she was just doing yeah, and then she goes to a scream right after. Yeah! That's so nice. And for this one, definitely we have more glottic elements that hiss, that sibilance, that the leak of air. We have a lot of this, which will make the distortion sound heavier, dirtier. Yeah. Nine! Again, more vocal. Oh, this is so cool. More vocal distortions. Yeah. This is giving me Silent Hill vibes. Oh, Billie Eilish and Phineas. Amazing. All right, guys. So that's our analysis for Lady Gaga Abracadabra live at the Grammys. This was so cool. This is at the same time giving me some rock slash metal vibes. I think she's definitely adding some of those influences into her style right now as well. And also early Lady Gaga songs as well. Like, I must say that a bit different from the songs that I've been working on with students. Most of them that come from the movie A Star Is Born. So that's really interesting. I wasn't expecting that, and I really like it. The visuals, the performance, the song itself. Let me know what you think of the song, what you think of this particular performance, and of course, what you think of my analysis. If you are curious about my own singing, sometimes you'll be listening to vocal coaches talk about voice, and then you wonder, okay, but how does this person sound when they are actually singing for real? And I'm proud to say that I'm on the battlefield just like yourself as a singer, so I have my original songs out that you can check out. I'll leave this card up here that will lead you to a playlist with my original music, and you can check it out. And again, it would mean the world to me if I could hear your feedback on my own music. Alright, if you want to become a singing student and learn all of these techniques and much more, check out the link in the description to get more information on my online singing course, Building Your Voice. Again, in there we talk about active vocal schemes if you want to belt out those high notes, but also sing low notes with compression and power. We also talk about passive vocal schemes whenever you want to be super expressive and you make use of those soft sounds to convey that emotion you're singing. We have a complete module on vocal distortions. Yeah! How to practice and apply them in a way that will not hurt your voice. We don't want to get hurt practicing vocal technique. We talk about ornaments, yodels, vibratos, runs. We have a vocal exercise library for you to practice each of the techniques that we cover inside the course. We even have a lesson on how to create your own vocal exercises based on the challenges that you're facing with your own repertoire. Again, all of that and much more that's inside my singing course, Building Your Voice. That's all for the day, guys. You enjoy your day, you enjoy your coffee, and remember, if your concepts cannot be seen here in the real world, then they must change and not the world. See you in the next video.